Thome with another incredible chapter in his storybook career. There's a long drive, deep right center field. Gone to Souvenir City, and the Indians will walk off with another win. Carlos Santana on the first pitch blasts off.
So a little magic on Jim Thome night.
A beautiful day for baseball in downtown Cleveland as the Tribe takes on the Minnesota Twins. It's a day-night doubleheader. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Last night, I don't know what more we can say. Every once in a while, you get a moment where the event transcends the game itself. And last night was all about Jim Thome. And man, did he come through. He delighted the entire crowd and everybody watching on television as well.
Well, when you're a guy like Jim Thome, one of the nicest players in the game of baseball today, there's no better way for this guy to go out than with 3 for 4 a night. He hit a home run, 604 in his career. I mean, something very special. And not to be outdone, Carlos Santana comes up in the 9th inning, sees the first pitch, hits a walk-off home run, the 7th for the Indians this year. Just appropriate with this guy around. It could not have happened to two better guys. Jim Thome, you see, 3 for 4, home run number 604 and 337 in his career with the Indians. Carlos Santana didn't play, comes up, takes one swing. It's not that easy to do, is it?
He took about 8 practice swings, they told me, behind the dugout, and then went up and hit the first pitch out for a home run to win the game. All right, let's take a look at today's pitching matchup. David Huff will go for the Tribe against Brian Dunsing of Minnesota. Pitching matchup brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today.
Well, for Brian Dunsing, he's going to be on for anywhere from 30 to 50 pitches today. He is 9-14 on the year. Then he is going to be relieved by Francisco Liriano, who is going to go 2 innings, so it's pretty much a bullpen matchup for the Twins today, going up against David Huff. 2-6. He has been scuffling recently. Has lost his last 4 starts, and in his last start against the Seattle Mariners, he was hanging a few breaking balls. The fastball were up; they were upstairs, so he's going to have to get command of the fastball. But his very first start against the Twins this year, he threw 7 innings. He shut him out. We'll see if he can come back and do that today here in Game 1 of the doubleheader.
Yeah, hopefully that's a comfort level for David Huff. Meanwhile, Minnesota gets a couple of their regulars back in the lineup. Denard Span at the top of the lineup, and Danny Valencia back in the lineup today as well. We'll have all the starting lineups, the first pitch, and the play-by-play action coming up next on Sports Time Ohio. Under partly cloudy skies, 65 degrees at game time. The Indians and the Minnesota Twins about to embark on a day-night doubleheader. David Huff on the hill this afternoon for the Tribe in Game 1, 2 up, 6 down on the year. Let's take a look at the lineup he will face today for Ron Gardenhire's Minnesota Twins. Denard Spann back in the lineup, leading it off. Then it's Ben Revere, followed by Michael Kadire, who left last night's game with a groin injury, but he's back in there. Chris Parmalee hitting cleanup, and then Denny Valencia also back in the starting lineup for Minnesota. Then it's Trevor Plouffe, followed by Luke Hughes, Joe Benson, and Rene Rivera.
David Huff on the mound for the Indians, making start number 11. He is 2-6. He's lost his last 4 starts. But his one start against the Minnesota Twins this year came July 18th. A very good game. 7 innings, 5 hits, did not allow a run, had 5 punch-outs and walked 2. In his career, he is 3-5 against the Twins. So he's going to try and end it on a very positive note here, and hopefully he can do that. Let's take a look at the Indians' defense, brought to you by Pat O'Brien Chevrolet, saluting the men and women defending our country and watching on the Armed Forces Network. Duncan is back in left, Crow in center, Carrera over in right, Hanahan at third, Donald at short, Kipnis at second, Laporte at first with Santana behind the plate.
Andy Fletcher to call the balls and strikes. Marco Lolo is at first, Jim Reynolds at second, Al Porter down at third. And we are ready to go as Denard Spann steps in. And our first pitch from David Huff in there for a strike. Denard Spann got a concussion, missed a big chunk of the season with that, and then after that he had problems with recurring migraine headaches. Just activated a couple of days ago to try to get back in action.
Well, as they were going to the airport before coming here, he ended up getting in a little collision with Danny Valencia, the third baseman. They didn't play the first night of the ball game, and he rear-ended him on the way to the airport.
There's a fly ball to left. Shelley Duncan has it, 1 down. The injury report brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Now Jason Kubel and Jason Repko both day-to-day, as they say. Kubel's been bothered by that foot problem, though, almost the entire year. Joe Mauer, Justin Morneau done for the year, as is Nishioka. Alexi Castillo with a right hamstring. And that's just the start of the injury problems for Minnesota. In the air to center, and a diving attempt by Crow, but he couldn't come up with it. And now moving to second base is Ben Revere with a 1-out double.
That left shoulder looks like it may have hurt him a little bit. He landed on it as he was diving for the ball. Coming in, just missed it. That ball got underneath the glove. And I think all the weight goes on that left shoulder. Take a look. There he goes, awkwardly. You know, and you can stretch that socket out, and I'm not sure if that was the shoulder he had surgery on or not. But it did not feel good.
Michael Kadire was 1 for 4 in last night's ball game. That's lifted in the air to shallow right. Kipnis out. He'll make the catch. Second baseman hangs on. And there are 2 down here in the first. That'll bring up Chris Parmalee. Parmalee last night 2 for 5 with a home run. He also drove in 3 runs in the game. One of the real bright spots, I think, for Minnesota, as you talk about the injuries, and sometimes through adversity you find out about your farm system, your depth, and who could potentially be a guy you can count on in the future. And this guy has stepped up and said, hey, I'm here for you.
Well, he has, but he's done it in a position where if
Morneau comes back and healthy, it's a tough spot to be in.
Not to mention they've played Joe Mauer quite a bit at first base as well. Try to save some of the wear and tear on their franchise player, Joe Mauer. So, yeah, he's a little bit roadblocked.
But he has, against the Indians, he swung the bat very well.
Low and away, ball one. In there to even the count of 1-1. Low, 2 balls and a strike. Ron Gardenhire looking on. 2-1 pitch, swung on and missed to even the count. And the 2-2 offering is fouled out of play. There is Danny Valencia waiting on deck. He said of that car accident that he was involved in the other day, his car was rear-ended by Spans. They were both driving Range Rovers. Valencia said, you know, we just had a great walk-off win, our first win in about 2 weeks, and the next thing you know, it felt like I had a bomb dropped on my car. 2-2 pitch. Outside, full count. Span said, we were only going about 10 miles an hour.
Well, he's the one that hit him.
That might have been exaggerated just a little bit. But they, you know, for their part, all that was done other than some minor damages to the vehicles, you know, some soreness, general soreness, and that was about it. So that's why they sat out last night's game, but back in there today.
It has been that kind of year for the Minnesota Twins.
The 3-2 is swung on and missed, and David Huff strikes out Parmalee to end the inning. Twins get a hit, leave a man. Indians coming to bat. Take a look at Maniacta's starting 9. It's courtesy of Progressive Insurance, proud to be the official auto insurance provider of the Cleveland Indians. Jason Donald, Jason Kipnis, Carlos Santana. Then Travis Hafner, Shelley Duncan, and Matt Laporta, who's hit in 6 straight. Jack Hanahan, Trevor Crow, and Ezekiel Carrera.
Brian Dunsing on the mound and making his 28th start, but I understand he's only out there for about 30 to 50 pitches this afternoon. Made one other start against the Indians this year. That came back on April 23rd. Went 7 innings, gave up 5 hits and 1 run. He did get the win in that ball game, so he is 1-0 in 2 appearances against the Tribe this year.
Dunsing deals. It's low, ball 1. Fastball missing up high, 2 balls, no strikes.
This is a guy that you have to make him get in the strike zone. He has 51 walks this year in his 156 innings. So patience, make him get in the zone.
Caught the outside corner. Slowly tapped to second. And Luke Hughes throws him out, 1 away.
Take a look at the Home Depot Twins defense behind Dunsing this afternoon. In the outfield from left to right, it's going to be Revere, Span, and Benson. On the infield from third to first, it's Valencia, Plouffe, Hughes, and Parmalee. Rivera is behind the plate. More savings, more doing. That's the power of Home Depot.
Jason Kipnis takes a strike over the outside part of the plate. Slow curve dips low. Brian Dunsing was a 3rd-round pick of the Twins back in 2005 out of the University of Nebraska. Making his 50th career start here this afternoon. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And that's lined right up the middle. Well, Jason Kipnis, a 1-out knock here in the first, and that brings us to our great clip of the game from last night. Carlos Santana with 1 swing of the bat, the only pitch he saw in the game. He homered to win it in the bottom of the 9th. Relax. You're at Great Clips.
That was his 2nd walk-off homer of the year. The Indians 7 here in Progressive Field this year.
Our Ion 4 Powerade rankings.
He's had a great year, hasn't he, for a young player coming up and fitting into the middle part of that lineup.
And I don't think you can take any one part of his game and view it independently. I think you have to look at it all together to get a real clear picture of the kind of season that Santana has had. Because you can't just look at his batting average and say, well, that's not as good as expected. You can't just look at his homers and say, well, that was impressive. Because you have to look at a young player who was thrust into the middle of the lineup, had injuries all around him,
right.
a lot of expectations on him,
not a lot of protection around him. I mean, you can see where some hitters like his age will go up and fit into a lineup of good hitters and have a great year.
Oh, no doubt.
But, I mean, for him to come in and put up the numbers that he has put up has been very impressive. And they're only – I'm not saying they're going to get better and he's going to blow them away, but average-wise, he's going to learn a lot more. And the better hitters you get around him, it certainly will help him.
He lines one toward right field, and it's run down by Benson for out number 2. But a good stroke, as you point out there. Nice approach, but it's out number 2.
I mean, this is something that he's really done about the last, I'd say, 6 weeks, where he takes that pitch down and away and stays on it. You know, he doesn't try to pull it and swing and miss it. And he drives that ball to right field. That ball hit right on the nose. They end up running it down, but that is a good at-bat if you're a hitter. Not much more you could do with that pitch than what he just did.
Now Travis Hafner. Looks at a ball outside and the count 1-0. There's line drive, almost took the head of the umpire off. On his way to third goes Kipnis. Here's the throw. He is safe. Oh, that was very close. Valencia thought he had him, but Alan Porter calls Kipnis safe. Aggressive base running there with 2 down, and the Indians have runners at the corners.
Well, that's aggressive when you're safe. You don't want to make that third out at third base. And he got his foot in there, so you can't say anything about it. It's good hustle. Hafner smokes his ball into center field. A 2-out single, and off comes Kipnis. And that's the one thing that surprised me a little bit about Jason Kipnis is his speed. I mean, he can pick him up and put him down for a guy, and by the time the tag comes in, that's a good call. From our angle, it looked like, he was over there, but that glove never gets him until that foot is on the base.
2 on, 2 out. Shelley Duncan with a chance to give the Indians the early lead. Looks at a ball outside. There's a case where the ball beat him to the bag, but he beat the tag. Shelley trying to snap an 0 for 12 slump at the plate. Caught the corner. Kipnis at third. Hafner at first. With 2 away, a 1-1 count for Shelley Duncan. And he takes a fastball, 1-2. Just swatted it over into the Indians' dugout. How about Ruben Niebla, the AAA pitching coach, with a nice grab? He was telling me before the game today, we saw all the injuries here at the big league level and how many players the Indians went through. They had 185 transactions this year at AAA Columbus.
Oh, man.
You talk about a revolving door, and yet they won the whole thing.
That is incredible in its own right.
Duncan with a drive, deep left center field, off the wall, right at the base. Kipnis scoring. Hafner's going to be waved home. Here's the throw to the plate, not in time. Shelley Duncan with a 2-out, 2-run double, and the Tribe takes a 2-0 lead.
Well, Shelley got a ball to his liking and drove it into left center field. It's going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. 2-out hitting. Boy, when the Tribe does that, he left him a breaking ball out over the plate. And Span was waiting for that ball to come off the wall. It hits the base of the wall and just stays put. Had some spin to it, so that enabled Hafner to score all the way from first base. You'll see him come sliding in. So great 2-out base hit by Duncan. The Indians on top, 2-0. That's RBI number 39 and 40 for Shelley.
That's the way you snap out of a slump. Breaks an 0 for 12 for Dunk. Now Matt Laporta. Swung and missed at a ball. Laporta had a big night offensively for the Tribe, going 3 for 4 last night with a double. Nothing into the count. with Shelley Duncan at second base and 2 down here in the first. Drive on top 2-0. Matt Laporta down on the count 0-2. Ryan Dunsing already has made 22 pitches. Missed inside. A little extra oomph on that fastball for Dunsing.
But
he wanted to make sure that he got it in off the plate. Down on the dirt. Laporta back to even now at 2-2. And the 2-2. He got him. Shelley Duncan's 2-out, 2-run double stakes the Indians to a 2-0 lead after 1. Baseball is brought to you by McDonald's. The Mango Pineapple Real Fruit Smoothie has arrived. By your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. And by AT&T. Now we're back here at Progressive Field, and already a change for the Indians as Trevor Crowe has exited the ball game. Kosuke Fukudome has come in to play in right field, and Ezekiel Carrera has gone over to center. Trevor Crowe landed awkwardly on his left shoulder. Now, it was the right shoulder that he had surgery on back in March, right before the regular season began, but still, it didn't look real good.
Watch it extend up there, and he landed right on that thing. Out of the weight going forward. I could tell that he was sore. He was hurting right there. You can see he's trying to get some feeling in there.
After everything he's been through this year, you hope that's just precautionary. As Carrera makes the catch here for out number 1. One ball, no strikes. Yanked to third, in and out of the glove of Hanahan. And safe at first is Trevor Plouffe. Mark that one down. That might be a first. A ball that Jack Hanahan actually had leather on and didn't make the play. One of the few, if not only, times this year.
He's got to reach behind him, and that ball was smoked.
Yeah,
you see,
sure
he was just a tad tardy at getting that glove up. That ball was hit so hard. You know, I mean, he got leather on it. It just didn't stay in the glove. It didn't hit in the pocket.
He's been so spectacular this year. You just expect him to make every single play. And a strike called to Luke Hughes.
You know, that's fun to watch when you have a guy like that and you expect it. And then when you don't see it, it's almost like a shock. You
That's
know,
exactly right.
That's how good it is. And I mean, there's very few guys like that when they're playing defense that you just expect everything that's hit their way. It's automatic.
Trying to remember.
And guys like that get punished a lot as far as errors go.
Oh, sure.
You know, because they are so good.
1-1 pitch to Luke Hughes. Omar Vizquel had a game, was it 94 or 95, where he made 2 or 3 errors?
Three errors. 1994 against the Kansas City Royals. Right here.
It was mystifying, you know, and even he was at a loss afterwards.
There were pop-ups. That game showed you right there he was human. And then other than that, it never happened again. I'll never forget it.
He perfected that turn your back to home plate and catch the pop fly over your shoulder catch. I don't think I've seen anybody else do it.
You won't do it.
With the sun.
Who else would do it? He didn't wear glasses.
Back out of play. One on, one out. 2-2 count for Luke Hughes with Joe Benson on deck. Runner goes. Popped up and foul out of play. Plouffe did not have much of a jump at all.
Well,
had Hughes swung and missed.
With a left-hander on the mound, a lot of times you're banking that the guy's going to put it in play.
Santana could have run the ball to second base and beat him there.
Yeah, well, they tell you, make sure he goes home.
Yeah, that's true.
But, yeah, sometimes that hurts you when a guy does not get a jump at first base. You're banking that the hitter's going to put the ball in play.
Yeah, if the runner doesn't make the second baseman move, it kind of defeats the purpose.
Sure it does. There's nobody going to move here.
Runner goes, and a high fly ball, deep left, Duncan back. At the wall, he jumps up and hangs on, makes the catch. And a nice play by Shelley Duncan. Plouffe races back to first, 2 down.
Well, he gave it a ride. He ran out of room. Duncan going back all the way to the wall, jumps up and makes the play. Had about another half a step. So goes out number 2.
I was going to say, David Huff was the guy on the mound when Shelley Duncan made those
in
3
Texas.
incredible catches down in Texas.
He sure was.
Joe Benson takes a strike. Huff's 0-1 pitch. Hit high in the air to center. Carrera in trouble with the sun, but he holds on, and that ends the inning. No runs, a hit, a man left aboard. We go to the bottom of the second. Cleveland 2, Minnesota nothing. Second inning here at Progressive Field. Jack Hanahan, Trevor Crowe, and Ezekiel Carrera due up here for the Indians. The 0-1. Hanahan rolls it foul. Another foul ball. And once again, he fouls it out of play. Way outside, a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, she has a souvenir she's going home with. Good for her. Time to take a picture. All smiles.
Swung on and missed. Hanahan strikes out. Well, yesterday it was my great privilege to be on hand at the Gathering Place where Jeff Lehman from Great Clips was there to present Eileen Safran of the Gathering Place with a check from all the money that we've donated up to a certain point for the Indians' home runs this year. At that point, we were up to $73.50, but we continue to add to that. We're going to be close to $10,000 when it's all said and done, when we add in your donation and my donation as well. But thanks again to Jeff Lehman and all the folks at Great Clips throughout throughout northeastern Ohio. And, you know, Great Clips is a neat deal because every shop is owned locally, so all those people are kicking in, and it's a great program. And certainly Eileen and Ben Light and everybody associated with the Gathering Place, they do such a wonderful job.
Some very special people, and I'll tell you what, it's an honor to do business with them throughout the course of the year.
Well, they wanted me to pass along their appreciation for your involvement as well. And
no problem.
For those of you watching who aren't familiar with the Gathering Place, it's a wonderful community that helps individuals and family members, anybody that's been touched by cancer. And they have programs that they offer free of charge, and that's the key. I mean, if you've been affected, if it's hit your family, seek out the Gathering Place. There's a location in Beechwood. There's also a location in Westlake to serve all of northeastern Ohio, and check them out. It's a lot of folks who are dedicated and do a wonderful job. Fukudome strikes out. Back-to-back Ks here to start the second for Brian Dunsing. Our trivia question today brought to you by AT&T. 4 lefties in Twins history have had a 20 or more win season. Who are they? Here's the 0-1 to Carrera over the outside corner. You can't look in the media guy. That's cheap.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I've already made my guesses to Murph.
You only gave 2 guesses.
I'm not looking for that.
A little bit outside, a ball and 2 strikes. Couldn't get him to offer at it. Even up at 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down, bases empty here in inning number 2. And the Tribe leading at 2-0. Throws him out. And the Indians go 1-2-3. 2 complete, 2-0 Indians. Back here, top of the third. Want to remind you to stay tuned later in the game to see our Miller Taste Greatness. Rene Rivera, Denard Span, and Ben Revere from Minnesota here in inning number 3. Grounded to short. Jason Donald throws him out, 1 away. Let's check in right now with Katie Witham, who's got some interesting insight into the defensive development this year for Carlos Santana.
Yeah, guys, I spoke with Sandy Alomar Jr. earlier about Santana. He told me he's really been impressed with the way Santana's been able to call games this year. He's consistently setting up in a lower position and staying under the ball. But next year, he says he's really got to improve that transfer, work on the footwork. But remember, guys, this is just his 4th season as a catcher, and he's doing it with a team that was pretty much in contention all year. He told me, Sandy, his 4th year as a professional catcher, he spent it down in Double-A.
Well, again, I think that's where we were talking about Santana earlier, and you can't look at any one facet of his game independently of the whole picture, and that's another element to it, Katie, and that this is still a very young player, and maybe not in terms of age, although he's still, a young player age-wise, but just in terms of baseball development.
Right, at his position, and I would think that's true. I mean, his footwork is probably in throwing to second base and throwing runners. His game calling has been fine. He's got to work on blocking a little bit more, on blocking some baseballs, but it's not an easy position. And not only has he had to worry about that, he also has to go out and he's been playing first base as well.
Got him looking. Denard Span is strikeout victim number 2 for David Huff.
Check it out on our Time Warner Cable pitch tracker. It's a fastball right there.
Ben Revere, he lined that ball to center that Trevor Crowe dove for, and that wound up costing Crowe the rest of this ball game. We'll pass along any word if we get it, as that ball is hit just inside the bag, and Ben Revere's got his 2nd hit of the day. Head first slide just beats the throw, and a 2-out double. His 2nd of the day.
Well, he has 2 of the 3 hits. That one was sliced right over the bag. He's a slasher. This young guy, he gets up there, and I mean, he puts a short stroke on the ball. Look at that, straight to it, but it's upstairs again. A lot of David's fastballs have been upstairs.
Michael Kadire popped up on the infield. Two balls, no strikes. Right back out of play. 2-1. Red Licorice got his Buckeye jersey on.
That'll
He's ready
keep him busy
later this afternoon.
He's got both sports covered.
The 2-1 pitch. Grounded foul. You got the Indians today, the Buckeyes in between, and the Indians tonight. Revere at second base with 2 down, the 2-2. ran it up out of the strike zone, and Kadier chased after it. Third strikeout for Huff. And the Twins have stranded their third runner in the game. Top of the order for the Indians here in the home half of the third. Jason Donald, who grounded out the second his first time up. Oh, shattered bat. Valencia throws him out. Check in once again today with Katie Witham.
Well, guys, it's turning out to be a beautiful day here at the ballpark. We've got another game coming at you tonight at 7:05, and afterwards, it's the final fireworks show of the year, set to the Star Wars soundtrack. It's going to be a good one. They're also going to have characters from the movie walking around through the stands. You can meet them. Get your tickets now online at Indians.com. Matt?
All right, thanks, Katie.
Last one of the year. What are they going to do all winter without a fireworks show?
Way outside. Kipnis pops it to shallow left. Plouffe is out to make the catch. 2 down. The STO Celebrity Par 3 Shootout returns tomorrow night at 10. Austin Carr, Ron Harper, Bruce Drennan, Tony Grossi will battle it out at Stonewater. It's the STO Par 3 Shootout tomorrow at 10 after the Golf Zone with Jimmy Hanlon right here on STO. Carlos Santana lined out to right field his first time up. Two balls, no strikes. Now the 2-1. And it's in the dirt. 3 balls and a strike. Coming up in the 4th inning. We'll have a special guest in the booth. His former Indian Paul Sorrento will stop by and spend some time with us.
Haven't seen Paulie in a while, huh?
High pop. Hughes fighting the sun, makes the catch. And the Indians go 1-2-3. 2-0 Cleveland as we go to the fourth. The 2-0 lead as we go to the top half of the fourth. Parmalee, Valencia, and Plouffe due up for the Twins. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you, and real happy to be joined now by Paul Sorrento back here in Cleveland. As what a great weekend it's been celebrating Jim Thome and his return to the Indians. And man, last night was about as special as it get, huh, Paul?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was good to be a part of it. You know, see Jimmy get the recognition he deserves. We'd have liked to have the weather been a little better. But
just
it was
wait
pretty
a while.
fun.
It'll happen. It's too bad it did just rain at the ceremony. But this is your first time back in Cleveland since when?
Since I got done playing in like 2000.
No
so
kidding.
It's great to come back in town, see all the familiar faces,
yeah,
and see all your old friends, and good to be a part of last night. You know, big, huge accomplishments for Jimmy. You know, not too many guys have done that, so it was good to be a part of that.
How about he goes deep to straightaway center field? I mean, with
it was
three
perfect.
hits, that's goosebumps, isn't it, when you're a former player to watch something like that happen?
I was up in someone's suite, and I said, if he hits a triple, I'm diving off the balcony. Right?
Yeah. I would have beat you to the ground.
You know the funny thing about that, I was in the clubhouse today, and a lot of the coaches were saying, in the dugout last night, they were saying, what do you think it would take for him to get a triple? What has to happen out here on the field?
Three outfielders collide, two infielders blow hamstrings. That's what it would have taken.
Exactly. But it was fitting, you know, to see Jimmy go deep. That was pretty cool.
It really was.
And it was a great game. They ended up pulling it out.
Ended up on awesome. A walk-off home run. And let's talk about that year, 1995. That year was a special year where they hit 9 home runs. You guys on that ball club to walk off to end ball games.
That was a great lineup that we had, and a lot of exciting games. Special year. You know, we wish we could have kind of finished it off, but
this is the one people still talk about.
Is that Toronto?
Yep.
Right there, down 7-0 in that ball game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was a good comeback there. And that's what you didn't want.
You
know, when you hit the home run and you get beat up at home plate, it almost seemed like guys were waiting for that to happen.
They sure were. That was a lot of fun that year. I don't think I've ever seen a year that incredible in all of baseball. And there's part of last night's ceremonies. Jimmy hasn't changed one bit, has he?
No, he hasn't. He's been the same guy. Great teammate. Real humble guy. You know, team guy. I thought it was cool, and obviously no one knew about it. The statue is going to be out in Heritage Park. That'll be nice.
Yes, it will.
Well deserving. I say probably. I mean, I know nothing's definite in life, but mostly Hall of Famer. That's going to happen. So that
has to be.
That's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, number 8 all-time in home runs and walks. I mean, you look at his numbers, and he's played on teams. The only thing he didn't accomplish was a world championship, team. But that happens to a lot of guys.
Oh, yeah. That's, like you said, there's a lot of guys in the Hall that, don't have championship rings. And, that doesn't take away from any of them, really, but especially Jimmy. It doesn't take away how good a player he was.
Well, the Indians made a great trade. Rick and I were talking about it before you came in here when they sent Curtis Leskonic to the Twins to bring you over here. And you went through that transition with Jimmy and Sandy and Manny and, from the old ballpark, in the old days and the way it was. And then you come in here to this new gem of a ballpark, and everything changed almost overnight. That
was pretty cool. We had a pretty tight-knit team, and I think that exactly what you said, Matt. We were kind of guys coming from other organizations and all around the same age.
Right.
And it was pretty cool that we were all kind of hungry because we were getting our first chance to play on an everyday basis, and a lot of fond memories, But yeah, coming into the then called Jake,
right?
Now Progressive, it was awesome, And then we started that sellout run. All them games, it was really cool.
Like a perfect storm, where everything came together. They got out of the old stadium. They come into the new stadium. And then in September, we talked about it with Jimmy last night because he was playing third base in September 9th when they clinched. That he caught the foul ball over there against the Orioles to clinch it the first time in over 40 years. It was something very, very special in this town.
It was. I mean, how many times you see a team clinch first week of September?
Yeah. With a 30-game lead at the end of the season.
All right. Well, the only one that was still nervous was Hargrove. We were talking to him, and he says until you clinch, it's done. But that was some very special year.
There was a lot of great players on the team. A couple, if you look back, I mean, it could be 4 or 5 Hall of Famers off that team.
Did you know it at the time? Did you know how good you were at that time, or are you so wrapped up in the moment you don't have enough perspective to figure all that out yet?
Well, I think we were all confident, taking the field that we had a real good chance to win. And I think that's why, John Hart and had done a really good job of bringing those veteran guys in, like a Tony Pena, Dennis, Worrell, Eddie, guys that have won before, because we were good, but, we just didn't. I don't know if there's a saying, I guess we didn't really know how to win or hadn't experienced it, and those guys did. And they were a real great influence on us. So I think you were right, Arch. I think it was just a perfect storm, and everything clicked.
The Indians started, they wanted to take away arbitration and sign guys and make them a part of an organization for a while. And that's what Hart and Danny O'Dowd did. And, I mean, I was watching games in that era, and I was thinking to myself, this is like Little League. You guys had more than confidence. You guys knew you were going to win.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there were very few teams that would get their closer up in the bullpen in the 8th inning when they're down 2 runs. And you guys come to bat. And here you go. You score 3, and in comes the closer. It was almost like an arrogance, but it wasn't arrogant. You know what I'm saying? They were so good.
That team had an inner arrogance. I mean, I just think they believed they were going to win. As Paul said, they knew they could win, and they believed they were going to win every time they took the field.
I used to love to go into the clubhouse after the game to hear the tunes, man. It was rocking and rolling, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was out of control. You got to give Grover some credit, too, because he kind of let us be ourselves and didn't police it all too much.
Yeah.
Which was nice for players. But, it was out of control for sure. A good out of control. We had some good characters on that team,
yes,
for sure.
Indeed.
Guys that once the bell rang, they were ready to play.
Well, it looks like
gets the Twins on the board.
Change up from David Huff right there, then into the dirt, and it gets by Santana, so both runners will move up.
Good day for baseball today.
Boy, it's gorgeous.
Oh,
really jammed him big time.
I've been there before.
Yeah, that's right.
2 down. Paul, you know, the one thing I was curious to ask you, because I've talked to other guys about this, and baseball, I think because of the way the game is played, there's very little intimidation. I mean, you have to have so much self-confidence because of the failure rate in this game that it's hard. But that if there was ever a team that could intimidate opposing teams, it felt to me like that 95 Indians team was one where you guys might have had a lot of games won before a pitch was even thrown.
Yeah, you know, it's a good point.
Did you ever get that sense, though, that maybe you had some teams beat before the game even got started?
You know, as a player, you can't think that way. You know, you obviously have a lot of confidence going into a game. You may have to have some other clubs if they're intimidating, but we had some. That lineup was. I mean, I think we outscored our opponents that year by almost 200 runs. I mean, it's ridiculous, and there was just not a weak spot in it. You know, you had to grind out 1 through 9, and I think eventually we just wore teams out. Yeah. You know, and to our advantage, and then you know our pitching staff, our bullpen was unbelievable, and our starters were all having career years. You know, so it was just a perfect year. And we kind of ran into a buzzsaw with Glavine, Maddox, and
Smoltz. Yeah, of course.
It was just kind of tough, but
I mean, they were there in '95, and it was unfortunate. That's when the strike zone, got a little big.
That was unbelievable. And before the game, we were all excited because we knew the guy was a hitter's umpire behind the plate, and all of a sudden he just flip-flopped, and Glavine was on the mound. And you give Glavine 6 inches on each side,
he wouldn't move it.
Night over. Yeah. Forget it. He's going to hit that spot every time. You know, so it was disappointing, but great year, great memories.
Oh yeah,
great memories.
Now, any chance? What are you doing now? You're living in Seattle.
Living in Seattle. Have a 14-year-old son, 12-year-old girl. And so I'm basically a taxi cab and an ATM. You know what I mean? That's about it. That's what my life has come to.
Stick around. We'll have more with Paul Sorrento as we go to the bottom of the fourth here at Progressive Field. Tribe on top, 2-1. As we go to the bottom of the fourth, it'll be Hafner, Duncan, and Laporta for the Indians. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning. And once again joined this half inning by Paul Sorrento, former Indians great slugger in that mid-90s run there. And back in town this weekend with a number of former teammates. How fun was it to catch up with Carlos Baerga, Chad OJ, some of the other guys?
It was great. You know, I mean, you kind of keep in touch over the phone, but you don't get to see him. You know, everybody's doing their own thing. They got family and all that, so it was great to.
It's like a reunion. It's like a high school reunion is what it turns out to be.
It is. Carlos yesterday was lobbying to have a 95 reunion.
Well, of course, Carlos, he wants to do anything, everything.
But it was great seeing him.
Well, you know what you got to do now. We have this fantasy camp out in Arizona. I'm sure you've heard about that.
I've been trying to put fantasy off, because it's like, man, I'm not that old.
You haven't accepted it yet?
Yeah,
you are. I'm here to tell you are.
I love it.
But everybody keeps asking me, so it's like, okay, I guess I am that old because everybody's asking me about fantasy.
I'm going to tell you
I'm
something.
like,
you like it. You'll get to see more guys down there and have such a good time because it's different generations. You'll do it with guys that are from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. You'll have a ball, and I mean, you'll get to know guys. It's something special. And yes, you are old enough. I'm here to tell you that right now.
All right, I guess it's official. Yeah, it's a fantasy camper.
Well, it's Arizona for a week. It gets you out of Seattle, where it rains most of the time and it's cloudy. At least come see the sun.
There you go.
I'll give you some sunscreen you can put on your head out there in Arizona in January.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
But it's fun. Well, you ended up playing with Minnesota. There's nobody there, that you knew anywhere. Even the clubhouse guys are not around, are they?
Yeah, no. It's they've got a whole young, different team. I had Ron Gardner hired in the minor leagues. He was my manager. Great person.
Yeah.
Happy to see him have his success that he's had.
Right.
But probably a little frustrating to him down there, you know.
Well, this year has been, for Gardy, who is a very good manager. I mean, division titles, what has he won? He's won 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, he's won a bunch for them.
And, it's just one of those years for him.
And it's funny. He was the manager of the year a season ago. And now this year, they're on the verge of losing 100 games. That's
usually what happens when you win manager of the year. It's like the next year you're in trouble. So you got to be careful.
Yeah, it's a funny game. It'll humble you in a second.
In a heartbeat, boy. No kidding.
And to think starting out, baseball wasn't your gig, right? You grew up in Massachusetts, and if I remember right, hockey was on your plate first and foremost.
Yeah, I mean, we just didn't have the weather. I mean, you play about 10, 15 games in high school, and that's a full season. So it was a hockey town, so you grow up playing hockey. But I'm glad I chose baseball. I don't think I could have made it in hockey.
Would you have been a winger, defenseman? What were we looking at?
I played goalie.
Oh, yeah?
I was a goalie.
Between the pipes.
This guy right behind us, Gary Coach, was a
legendary.
goalie. Holy smokes.
Lakewood High School.
Yeah, I played goalies.
His nickname was 5-hole.
Get out of here in the fourth.
You like that, Matty?
Oh, that was good. I don't think he liked it
no,
too
much.
Just giving you a dirty look.
It's the end of the year. Love you, bro.
Oh, man. Well, you just missed Omar Vizquel, too. I mean, is it amazing to you when you think about those great teams and the fact that Omar's still playing, Jim Thomey's still playing?
Oh, yeah. It's I saw Omar in Minnesota. I went back about a month ago for a 20-year World Series reunion. And saw Omar. He looked the same.
Yeah, he is the same.
He looked great. And, I didn't realize, obviously, he was the best shortstop I ever played with and ever saw, really.
Right.
My generation. Fielding-wise, but I didn't realize how close he is to 3,000.
Yeah, 149 hits away.
Like that. So I guess he's going to try to stick it out.
Well, we asked him. We saw him in Chicago. He said he wants to go at least one more year. Now, that's not going to enable him to get that many hits.
Right.
But still, I mean, he's a treat to watch. He's a class act, and I agree with you. He's the best I've ever seen at shortstop.
He did some stuff that was just amazing.
Well, you were taking his throws.
Reminds me of the guy.
Cabrera?
Cabrera's. God,
he's been special.
Highlight reel every night.
Well, you were playing first base when Omar would throw the ball. And how many times did you go bang, bang to first base? He'd just get you whether you were a speedster or a truck.
He knew exactly how hard to throw
exactly.
it. And you didn't think he had a good arm, and all of a sudden he went in the hole and rocket over there, Great player.
Well, and you talked about it. You had Eddie Murray, who's in the Hall of Fame, Jim Thomey and Omar Vizquel, who are on their way.
Well, and Albert Bell couldn't have been far off if he would have stayed healthy. I don't think he'll get in only because of all the people that like him. I mean, because of the media. But I'll tell you what, if his numbers, if you look at them, they're very, very similar to Kirby Puckett, who is in there in the Hall of Fame. But Kirby, of course, played on the World Championship Twins, two teams, right, and was loved by everyone.
Yeah, I mean, you got to say those. I don't know how many years Albert got in, 12, whatever. He was the most dominant right-handed hitter when he played.
I know. There's no question.
No question about it.
You talk about getting emotionally involved into the game of hitting.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to the art of hitting. He was something that was pretty intense. And you guys used to bust chops all the way. It was about as good as you could get. Bus number 2, when you were going to the airport, I don't know how those things ever survived. Because Charlie Manuel was the one, him and Louis Isaac, that were on that second bus.
There they had the thickest skin.
Oh, yeah, you had to.
And I seem to recall Mark Whitten, too, being kind of an instigator.
Sure.
Hey, that to me, that's baseball team right there, man. I mean, you wore it.
Poor Davey Nelson was there, too.
He was a whipping
He couldn't take it anymore.
You couldn't be thin-skinned and survive on that clubhouse.
He stopped traveling on bus, too.
Hanahan with a long drive, deep center. And Span runs it down just in front of the wall. Paul, thanks so much for stopping by.
Good to see you, man. Yeah.
Great to see you.
Arch, good to see you, buddy.
Paul Sorrento visiting with us here today. Indians lead at 2-1 as we go to the 5th. United, proud to fly the Cleveland Indians. And by Panini's. Like Panini's franchise group on Facebook for your chance to win giveaways and prizes. And we're in the 5th inning now. 2-1 Indians. Rene Rivera will lead off for Minnesota.
It's always fun to reminisce, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's nice seeing guys that you haven't seen in a long time, like Paul Sorrento.
But it is a long time.
He wasn't maybe a star player on those 95 teams, but he was a key.
He fit in nicely, didn't he? Well, we were
piece.
talking about lineups. You talk about Santana and things like that, how you fit in the lineup. This is a piece that fit in beautifully. And you talked about having thick skin or anything. He'd be the one guy that would get on the stars. Or the great players.
And you're talking about a legit 25 to 30 home run a year guy.
Yeah. Well, it was fun. He says he's not old enough for fantasy camp. Who's he kidding? I mean, seriously, come on.
Now the 2-1.
If you're not between the lines right down there right now, then you're ready for camp.
Not everybody goes at the same pace. Some of us go kicking and screaming.
Well, you can go kicking and screaming, but I'm here to tell you better not.
Now the 3-1. That's lined into the glove of Hanahan. Knocks it down.
Don't tell
recovers.
Me twice,
And Laporta can't dig it out on the other end.
The second time in this ball game where a line drive was off the bat and it comes out of the glove. But this time was a lot closer. It'll go as a base hit again. Watch Hanahan having to jump up. This time it's to the other side. The other one was a backhanded side. In and out of the glove. Picks it back up and the throw across. Laporta just can't backhand it. So it'll go as an infield single.
Here's Denard Span 0 for 2. Out of play. And a breaking ball in there for a strike. Span flied to left in the first. Called out on strikes in the third. Just missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A little bit low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 75 pitches for David Huff. 49 have been for strikes. And that's outside, full count. Broke his bat. Kipnis flags it down, 1 away. Let's go back to the Hyundai Studios for an in-game update with Al Pawlowski.
All right, Matt, Rick, the Cubs taking on the Cardinals today. St. Louis 3 games out on the wild card entering play after a loss last night. Alfonso Soriano so far as the only run driven in and happened in the first inning. 1-0 Cubs. They're in the 5th inning now in St. Louis. Matt, back to you.
Thanks, Al. Runner at first with 1 out, Ben Revere. He's 2 for 2, 2 doubles. He doubled on a line drive to center in the first, and he slapped the double just inside the bag at third in inning number 3. Now ground ball to Kipnis. Kipnis goes to second for 1. Donald's return throw to first. Not in time, but there are 2 down.
Well, there's Jason getting over there, moving to his left. There's the throw across, but you're not going to get this guy. You're not going to double him up. Ben Revere, he can get down the line.
Michael Kadire 0 for 2. He has popped up, struck out. And that gets away from Santana. Bounced it in front of the plate.
Second wild pitch. So you send that tying run into scoring position now with 2 outs. I'm thinking both those wild pitches were changeups, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to see the grip, but it was spiked right into the ground. The same as when they scored that run back in the 4th inning. he's concentrating on, hey, I want to keep this changeup down. I don't want to leave it upstairs to a hitter like Kadire. And what happens? He bounced it.
2 balls, no strikes, and Santana's going to go to the mound.
Well, it'll give us time to send out some birthday wishes today. Pat Eckman of North Canton is turning 41. Happy birthday, Pat. Matt Sigler of Sylvania is 9 years old. And a couple of anniversaries sending along. Otis and Betty Smith of Akron celebrating their 69th anniversary. How about that? Congratulations and happy anniversary. And Kelly and Verlin Williams, the second of Fairport Harbor, celebrating their 17th. Congratulations to you as well. Minnesota looking for their first hit with a runner in scoring position today. 0 for 5.
They've had at least 1 hit in every inning.
They've had opportunities.
2-1 to Kadire. Right back to the screen to even the count. Huff deals. It's fouled back out of play. Huff ready with pitch number 85 on the day. And he strikes him out. That'll end the inning. We go to the bottom of the 5th. It's still 2-1 Cleveland.
Judd.
Making house calls in the stands.
Judd DeLeon or DeLeon.
Spreading goodness wherever he goes.
Someone's texting him something right now. I don't know what it is, but he's following.
You're on TV. He said, I know, I work in TV. Kosuke Fukudome struck out his first time up.
He ought to know you cannot hide. We will find you, Chud.
Well, Tapper back to the mound. Easy play for Dunsing.
Our
game recap brought to you by your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. Shelley Duncan with a 2-out, 2-run double in the first. David Huff with a wild pitch in the fourth. That's where we stand. Find out about more than 30 Toyota offers available now at buyatoyota.com. Now the 1-1. Fouled back. Brian Dunsing now over 70 pitches on the afternoon.
Well, I'm glad my scouting report told me 30 to 50. And he'd be out of there. And then Liriano would be going too.
Well, that's definitely the plan because they had them both scheduled in the game notes as a liner to center is caught by Span, 2 down. But Dunsing, after a rocky first inning, has not a lot of hit.
No, he has settled in, hasn't he? Here's a good jump to Art Span. He can go get him in center field. He read that ball very well off the bat of Carrera.
Jason Donald, couple of ground outs so far here today. And he looks at a strike. Looked low, called a strike. It's 0-2. From 0-2 to 2-2. There's Liriano, who is scheduled to come on in relief of Brian Dunsing. He did not offer at it, and it's a full count. Jason Donald 0 for 2 today, but has hit in 3 straight, going 8 for his last 14 overall. Breaking ball, strike 3 called. So Brian Dunsing goes 1-2-3 here in the 5th. It remains 2-1 Cleveland.
Last Kids Fun Day out here at the ballpark. They're all set up and getting ready for game number 2 tonight. Come on out, 10:30. Activities will start out on the plaza. The first 7,000 kids are going to receive a drawstring backpack. So, last home game of the year for 2011. Come on out and enjoy it and have some fun. Run the bases after the ball game, because it's going to be a while before we get back here and get to watch baseball again.
Chris Parmalee will lead off for Minnesota. Then Danny Valencia and Trevor Plouffe here in inning number 6. Some stirring in the Indians bullpen, but nobody throwing yet. So it looks like Zach Putnam will be the first man to get up. And he's out looking. 7 strikeouts now for Huff. 1 down in the 6th.
There you got a fastball down on the outside edge. Gets Parmalee for the 3rd time this afternoon. 7 punch outs on the day for David.
Scoreboard update brought to you by your Northern Ohio Ford dealers and the all-new 2012 Ford Focus. Ford, drive one. Three games in the National League currently, in addition to our game here today. Just about everything else later tonight.
Yeah, we'll have one of those too. One later tonight.
A little bit high. 2-1 on Danny Valencia, who singled and came around to score the only run for Minnesota so far on a wild pitch. In the hole. Another hit for Minnesota. They have had 1 in every inning here today. They had 2 in the 4th. So 7 now in the game. And yet David Huff has been able to navigate his way through it so far, only allowing the 1 run. And had he not thrown the wild pitch, he might be working on a shutout
well,
still.
That's true.
That drilled to the gap, and very likely will get home the tying run. Valencia on to third. He'll be waved home. Kipnis, throw to the plate, up the line, and scoring is Valencia, and we're even at 2. So back-to-back hits here in the 6th, a single, and then an RBI double.
Well, they want to go inside, and he leaves it away. See, he missed his target there by quite a bit. And Plouffe takes advantage of it. Drives it into right center field. His 3rd hit today. He will tie the ball game up at 2, and out comes Tim Belcher. That relay not in time. Valencia scores easily.
Well, Belcher out with the chat. Luke Hughes going to be at the plate with only 1 out and a go-ahead run in scoring position. Hughes 0 for 2 so far on the day. Out of play. Hughes flied to deep left in the 2nd and grounded to 3rd in the 4th. In the dirt, 1-1. Hughes now 1 for 5 in the series. As you see Plouffe, the go-ahead run in scoring position. Missed inside to fall behind in the count, now 2-1. Huff delivers, and it's fouled back out of play. Curveball fouled back. 3 balls, 2 strikes with the runner at second and 1 out here in the 6th. We are back to even at 2 apiece. And this next pitch will be number 100 on the day for Huff. The 3-2 is ripped to deep left. Duncan on the run makes a catch. And tries to throw back to second to double up Plouffe, but he returns safely. 2 down on a nice play by Duncan. And that's going to be it for David Huff.
Well, ball hit right on the nose. Duncan gets a running start, but no way you should try and throw it back. Even though he's out there, he's not going to do it. Just get the ball in. That's out number 2.
So David Huff's day over after 101 pitches. He leaves in a tie ball game with a go-ahead run in scoring position. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon 4G LTE. Rule the air on the most advanced 4G network in the world. As the Indians make a pitching change, David Huff, he's got security. He's got Shelley Duncan behind him. Last time Huff pitched down in Texas, Duncan made 3 terrific catches while Huff was on the mound to save him. And then here today, He's done it again a couple of times. Back deep to the wall to make that nice catch. And then earlier this inning.
That's right. I mean, you're ready. Defensively, you are ready. With David on the mound, he's going to put the ball in play. Hanahan's had a couple of line drives hit at him.
So for the Indians now, Zach Putnam coming on. 6th appearance. He'll be facing Joe Benson, who is 0 for 2 for Minnesota. Putnam fires. It's down low, ball 1. Good pitch. Slider in there. 1-2 the count. Zach Putnam drafted out of the University of Michigan by the Indians. And the Ann Arbor native strikes out Joe Benson to end the 6th. But Minnesota comes back to tie the game. We're even at 2. Jason Kipnis, Carlos Santana, and Travis Hafner due up for the Indians now. A new pitcher on for Minnesota. It's left-hander Francisco Liriano. And for Liriano, 9 wins, 9 losses, ERA .477. In 134 innings, he's walked 73, and he has struck out 112.
Well, he can get wild. I'll tell you, Brian Dunsing really settled down after that first inning. He did not allow a hit for his last 4 innings. He gave up 3 hits in the first, and that's when the Indians scored their 2 runs, and they haven't been able to do anything since that point.
Over the outside corner for a strike to Kipnis. Missed inside. 3 balls and a strike.
Well, this is one guy that's going to make him get in the strike zone.
And he can't do it. So the Indians get their leadoff man aboard for the first time of the day. All right, time now to get the answer to our AT&T trivia question. 4 lefties in Twins history's 20-win seasons. Well, we jumped right on top of Jim Cott, Frank Viola,
Johan Santana, and also Jerry Koosman.
Yeah. It's always the most recent one that seems to slip through your mind. Johan Santana.
I know.
Boy, and he tortured us for a number of years, too.
Yes, he did.
Except in 07, it seemed like we
5 times they beat him.
His number.
Well, right there, you just sit and take and make this guy get in the strike zone. He is having a tough time finding it. Out of his 7 pitches, only 1. Look at, he's shaking his head. Only 1 has found the strike zone.
He missed again, 3-0. Well, I wonder if that's why they had Jim Huey up there warming up at the same time Lariano was. He's walked 2 in a row. Wow. Rick Anderson going out to the mound. What, 8 out of 9, right?
Yeah.
8 out of 9 pitches, not even close.
You know, and this is normally, this isn't a normal year for the Minnesota Twins, but normally they have a pitching staff that is last in the league in walks allowed as far as a pitching staff goes. They have only walked 466. They're usually one of the best, but the Indians have been fewer. They've only walked 448, but they have their bullpen up and ready to go.
Well, Travis Hafner is going to step in. 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored. We'll see how much rope they give Lariano with Hoey warming in the Twins bullpen. Lariano to face Hafner now. And he misses again, ball 1. Didn't throw him a first pitch fastball. He threw him a first pitch slider, and it was down low out of the strike zone.
Well, you just you have to make this guy get in the strike zone right now. He is not commanding anything. Take everything he's going to give you.
Two balls and a strike. Ten out of 12 have missed the zone. Now the 2-1 to Pronk. He almost chased after it, but able to hold up, and it's 3-1. Lariano, with a frustrated look, kicks the dirt.
Well, when you're throwing balls like that, and it was a check swing, he might have thought he went, but the call, he did not. He's got to get into the strike zone again. Make him throw 2 in a row if you're Travis Hafner.
Hafner was swinging for the downs. Tied him up with a pretty decent fastball there in the full count. Hafner climbs back in now with 2 on. Nobody out in a tie game, bottom of the 6th. Payoff pitch, hit him, and they're loaded up. So Liriano has walked 2 and hit a batter to load the bases with nobody out. And Shelley Duncan coming to the plate.
Well, remember, the Indians and Justin Masterson did that yesterday in the ball game. A couple of walks, a hit batter. Minnesota couldn't take advantage of it. But now this is opening the door wide open for the Indians here in the bottom half of the 6th inning to take charge of this ball game. They have set the table for them.
Ron Gard and I are very frustrated with the way Liriano's throwing the ball here. But he's not going to take him out. I think it's almost as if he's saying, all right, show me something.
Well, you got yourself into the soup. Let's see you get yourself out.
Misses up high for ball 1. They're jammed with Indians, nobody out. Liriano with a 1-0. And Duncan with a high fly ball left field. Revere is there. He'll make the catch. Tagging and coming home with the go-ahead run is Jason Kipnis. And the Tribe leads at 3-2.
Now, how about that? You score a run without even a hit in the inning. You got to love that. Duncan does his job. Sacrifice fly. The Indians take a 3-2 lead.
But you don't want to let him off the hook the way he set the inning up for you.
Well, you would certainly like to, make him pay.
Put a big number up on the board. Matt Laporta walked his last time up, struck out in the first. There's a long drive to left. Revere won't get it. One hops the fence. Scoring is Santana. Hafner into third. Laporta with an RBI double. The Indians have plated 2 here in the 6th to take a 4-2 lead.
Well, that's going to hurt, and that's going to make him pay. It's a big hit by Matt Laporta, his 23rd double of the year. Gets it off the left field wall. And there's a pitch right out over the plate that he has an opportunity to pull. And sets it up again. 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. Minnesota's going to have to bring their infield in. So the first hit of the inning plates another run. Makes it a 4-2 ball game.
Now Jack Hanahan 0 for 2. Looking to inflict some damage here. Fouls it back. Hafner at third, Laporta at second. Infield halfway in. And that pitch just missed outside. 1-1. Center fielder Denard Span shading Hanahan the other way toward left. And you see the infielders, they're halfway in because Hafner doesn't run well, and neither does Laporta for that matter. They can afford to play back a little bit more. Slow chopper. It kicks foul. Almost kicked back the other way.
It's a fair ball. Oh, that almost was in fair territory.
That was very close to coming back and hitting the bag.
You know what? Parmalee let it go, and that was the right thing to do.
I think if he'd have let it keep going, it would have hit the bag. Would have been fair.
You're right. Watch this. It kicked back. Now watch. He just takes it at the end. That would have hit the bag.
Yes, indeed. He would have had an easy out.
Yep.
Hanahan down on the count, 1-2. Pops it back out of play. And the 1-2 to Jack. Up and in. Now Liriano's thrown 24 pitches, and only 9 of them have been strikes. Ron Gardenhire looks like he's ready to take his hat off and chew through it. The 2-2. Bloop towards center. Span racing in. Can't get it. Another run will score. As Hafner comes home, Laporta moves to third. Jack Hanahan with a bloop RBI single. 3 runs home here in the 6th. And the Indians have really made Liriano pay for his mistakes, as the 2 walks and the hit batter have all come around to score. And that's going to be it for the Twins lefty. This might be an interesting exchange in the center of the diamond, because Gardenhire is not very happy with the way Liriano came out
right
here.
there was a good pitch. Hanahan just does a nice job putting it in play, and that goes to show you that ball at first base, if he lets it go to hit the base, you got him out.
Good point. Yeah, I forgot about
that.
that.
Yeah, I mean, you had him. He didn't let it go and let it hit the base and touch it because nobody was moving up at that point. So Liriano set the table, was hurt with 3 runs in 1/3 of an inning.
Exit. Stage left. Third with 1 out. And Kosuke Fukudome coming to the plate to face right-hander Jim Hoy. Who is making his 25th appearance of the year. A win, 2 losses, ERA 5.40. Hoy has walked 13, though, and struck out 12. And that's down low, ball 1. Got a good live arm, but commanding it, like for so many pitchers, can be an issue.
Just like this inning was set up, was command issues.
Fukudome wraps it into right. Laporta scores. It's a 4-run sixth for the Tribe as they take command now with a 6-2 lead.
That is the third consecutive hit. That run will go to Liriano's docket. And Fukudome just put a nice stroke on the ball between first and second. So it's a 4-run sixth inning. And there's still just one out here. The only out was a sacrifice fly by Shelley Duncan.
Ezekiel Carrero for 2. Takes a strike. Hoey fires, and Ezekiel Carrero with a foul ball right at the dish. No balls, 2 strikes. With runners at first and second and 1 out here in inning number 6. And the Tribe now with a 6-2 lead as they try to move a game above the 500 mark. The offense came out swinging with 2 runs on 3 hits in the first inning. They didn't have another hit until Laporta's double here in this 6th. He takes strike 3 called. What in the world did he ask for time?
Yeah, he thought he was going to get time out. Well, you know what? He asked for it too late. And behind the plate, Andy Fletcher didn't give it to him. You know, he probably tried to get time out late, and they don't have to give it to you. You see where he put that hand up, and he didn't give it to him, so he stepped away, and that's a strike. You got to make sure that umpire calls it.
But see, he put his hand back on the bat, so he had to know.
Well, he didn't hear anything, so he thought he was going to get it. You said time, but it was a little too late.
Here's Jason Donald, the 9th man to bat in the inning. Bouncing ball straight up the middle. Plouff's throw not in time, and the bases are loaded. Hanahan to third, Fukudome to second, and an infield single for Jason Donald. Keeps the inning alive for the Tribe. And brings up Jason Kipnis for the 2nd time here in the 6th.
You know, once that ball, he gets a good jump out of the box, and once it hits for that 2nd time to get into the infield, Donald runs well enough to beat it out, and Plouffe can't get the ball over there in time and get anything on it. So there's an infield single for Jason Donald.
Kipnis started the inning with a walk. He walked on 5 pitches, then Santana, who followed him, walked on 4. Then Liriano hit Travis Hafner to set up the inning. A little bit high, 1-1. Kipnis with a ground ball single into center field. That's going to bring home Hanahan. Here comes Fukudome. It's a 6-run 6th for the Tribe, and they now lead it 8-2. And for Francisco Liriano, a nightmare of an outing as he goes 1/3 of an inning, and he is charged with 5 runs.
There's a ball up out over the plate, and boy, as we've witnessed Kipnis doing this so much, staying with the pitch, going up the middle, going the other way. A lot of base hits that way, and he drives in a pair. He is 2 for 3 this afternoon. Like the way he swings the bat.
Carlos Santana 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored already this inning. Rope just fouled on the right side. Well, the Indians' bats were quiet for the previous 4 innings, but man, they woke up here in the 6th.
Well, and they started it. I mean, they fueled the fire. I mean, they walked 2, hit a guy, they set the bases loaded. Then after they hit the sacrifice fly, the bats erupted. They started hitting the ball all over the place.
Jim Hoey delivers, and Santana with a big chopper to first. Parmalee takes it himself to end the inning. But the Tribe erupts for 6 runs in the 6th, and they lead it 8-2.
Now on top, Minnesota 8-2. Now you've got to be here this winter, Sunday, January 15th. We're not only going to be making Progressive Field history, but also Ohio history. We have the first ever outdoor college hockey game. The Ohio State Buckeyes taking on the Michigan Wolverines. Puck drops at 5:05. I am definitely going to be here just to see our very own Rick Manning try to maneuver that Zamboni. That's going to be entertaining in itself. Right now, you can register online, Indians.com/snowdays for your chance to pick up some pre-sale tickets. It's going to be a blast, so definitely check it out. Matt, Rick, we'll send it back up to you guys.
Okay, Katie, but before we get too far along, there are still some contract negotiations that have to take place with my partner and the Indians over the Zamboni driving, so we can't be sure that's going to happen.
Well, that's true. You got to have to wait a little while. We have some time. It's not till January.
7th inning here at Progressive Field, and the Indians just turned a close game into a rout. They're up 8-2. And Rene Rivera will lead off. He is 1 for 2 with a single. Putnam misses 2-0. And he hit him. Oh, boy. Twins get their leadoff man aboard. I think for most guys that wouldn't be so big a deal, but when you're a catcher and most of your life you spend squatting behind home plate, getting hit right there probably is a little tougher to deal with than most guys.
It's right on the outside of the knee. He really just couldn't get out of the way of it. That ball was there, and sometimes normally you see it go back there and you don't want to jump back because you know you're jumping into it, and it catches him on the outside part of the knee, and that hurts. There's no meat there. It's just bone.
Top of the order, and Denard Span And a ground ball single in the left. And back come the Twins. And that Indians bullpen will probably be getting busy again. The Lexus Berea Report returns to STO Monday night at 11:30. Andre Knott, Coach Sam, Mary Kay Cabot, they'll be there to provide all the updates on the Cleveland Browns. It's the Lexus Berea Report Monday night at 11:30 only on STO. Ben Revere takes the ball down low. He's 2 for 3 with 2 doubles. A called strike evens the count. Well, if you're a St. Louis Cardinals fan, they started the day 3 games behind Atlanta in the National League wild card race. And the good news is Atlanta is losing to Washington 4-1 in the 7th. The bad news is St. Louis is losing 1-0 to the Cubs in the 8th inning.
Oh, they'll come back. They are in St. Louis, right?
That's right.
They'll be down to their last 3 outs. It's a must-win for them.
Yeah.
But how about 3 teams clinching yesterday? All 3 teams, Texas, the Diamondbacks. Milwaukee.
It's all over but the shouting now. A liner to left. Duncan plays it perfectly. 1 down. That'll bring up Michael Kadire. Yep, the only thing left is the wild card in both leagues, and that could happen pretty quick, too. What are the Yankees and the Red Sox doing? They're playing a doubleheader tomorrow?
Yeah, I think tomorrow, right. Day-night doubleheader tomorrow.
And there's a strike to Kadire. They'll play at 1 o'clock tomorrow and then 6:30. That doubleheader in New York. He went too far, says first base ump Mark Lolo. Here's the 0-2. Swung on and missed. And Putnam comes back to get a big strikeout. 2 down.
Looks like he gets him to chase that splitter on our Time Warner Cable pitch tracker. It's exactly what it is. Good pitch. Looks like a strike, and it gets near the zone, and then the bottom falls out. The Twins have yet to get a hit with a runner in scoring position today, 0 for 10. Opportunities were there. They just can't capitalize.
High pop, foul ground in the seats. Pinballing around. Two on, 2 out, 2-1 count. Strike is called to even it up. Swung on and missed. He strikes him out. Zach Putnam does the job with back-to-back Ks here in the 7th. Time for the stretch, brought to you by Cleveland Clinic. Get up. Let's move it. Levin Furniture, home of Sealy's Posturepedic mattress, made in Northeast Ohio. And by your Northern Ohio Hyundai dealers. It's time to join the Hyundai movement. Eight-2 try, bottom of the 7th inning. Twins go back to their bullpen. Scott Baker, limited to just 22 starts this year. Actually, 21 starts. This will be his 23rd appearance. 132 and 2/3 innings, 32 walks, 121 strikeouts.
Yeah, he's one of those Minnesota pitchers that is around the strike zone, moves it up and down, in and out, and doesn't walk many.
And a strike is called, 1-1. Hafner looks at a ball up high. It's 2-1. Fisted foul back out of play. First of 2 between the Indians and Twins on this Saturday. Game 2 comes your way tonight at 7:05. Neon's on deck at 6:30. And all the play-by-play action on Channel 3 tonight at 7. Back out of play. Baker's 2-2 is fouled away. Hafner with just a little half swing. Big bouncer to first base. Parmalee will go himself. One away. Our Miller tastes greatness moment on this date in 1988. Dave Steve trying to author a no-hitter.
Look at this bounce. Julio Franco found the lip in the old Cleveland ballpark. One hit. That was 2 outs in the ninth. And then in 1990, just 2 short years later in September, I think it was on the 2nd, he did no-hit the Indians.
Yes, he did.
A sign of something to come.
That's cruel, though, to be that close to a no-hitter
Well,
and get a bad bounce.
I know it. That is cruel.
Duncan swinging a
Dave
miss.
Steve was a very good pitcher, but I want to tell you something. He could whine with the best of them.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
Well, maybe that's why.
he could whine with the best of them, with the players and this. Yes, he was. He had maybe one of the best sliders ever. Ask the right-handers.
Better than Guidry's?
It was good.
Duncan with a high drive, long way foul.
I think the right-handers would tell you yes. And the left-handers would say, not as good as Guidry's, but the left-handers would say Guidry's was better than, yeah. He threw his slider so hard you could hear it. You could hear the seams biting.
Swing and a miss. Duncan goes down. Who was the first guy you faced that you remember distinctly saying to yourself, how can they make the ball move like that?
I don't remember anybody, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's one thing when you're in high school or, even early in the minors, you face some guys that probably had some decent stuff, but you get to the big leagues and you face a guy that's got a big hammer or change up or something that just Bugs Bunny movement on it, and you're going, whoa. How in the world do they do that?
Well, I don't remember thinking about it like that. I just used to remember if I didn't think I could hit a pitch, I knew I had to play defense really good that day because I wasn't going to get any hits.
Laporta pops it up high and foul, out of play.
You look at it as a hitter where sometimes it could be just a normal pitcher that maybe you don't pick up so well and you don't see the ball and it's on you. It doesn't have to be like a spectacular pitch or of any kind. You just have one of those days where you just don't feel it at the plate and you don't see it. Like that.
Laporta goes down. A couple of strikeouts in the 7th for Scott Baker. Indians up 8-2.
presented by the authority of the Cleveland Indians, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
(8-2) Indians. As we go to the 8th inning here at Progressive Field on a gorgeous, sunny Saturday afternoon. Like Facebook, or like Panini's franchise group on Facebook. You can also like Facebook, but if you like Panini's on Facebook, you'll get a chance to win giveaways and prizes. Frank Herman on for the 40th time this year. 4 wins, no losses. He'll be facing Danny Valencia, Trevor Plouffe, and Luke Hughes. Danny Valencia 2 for 3, 2 singles, 2 runs scored. That's been all the Twins offense here today. He came home on a wild pitch in the 4th inning, and he scored on a double by Plouffe in the 6th. Plouffe has had 3 hits in 3 trips for Minnesota.
Believe it or not, Minnesota, they have out-hit the Indians 9-8. It was that one wild inning in the 6th where the Indians put 6 on the board.
And the Twins haven't bunched anything together. They've scattered them all over the board.
Yeah, they can't hit with runners in scoring position. At least they haven't today.
And it's not unexpected when you've got that many young players and guys who haven't played together. We've seen the effects that can have on a lineup. We've seen it here. Struck him out. It's 11 strikeouts for Indians pitching on the day. Tim Federoff had a nice year at both AA and AAA. Hit .308, 7th round pick in 09 out of North Carolina. Down on the dirt, ball and 2 strikes. And Plouffe, a swing and a miss. Santana will throw to first as the ball was in the dirt. 2nd strikeout for Herman. Sports Time Ohio is your home for Mid-American Conference football. We're coming in middle of October. Bowling Green meets Western Michigan on October 8th. And, of course, Mid-American Conference basketball tournament coming in the spring. It's all right here on Sports Time Ohio. Luke Hughes cuts and misses. He's 0 for 3, and Frank Herman is overpowering right now. 1 ball, 2 strikes. As Herman tries to whip the side here in the 8th. And the 1-2. Little tapper foul. Herman with a 1-2. A little bit outside. Herman ready now. He fires, and a line drive towards short. Gobbled up by Donald. Low throw gets him at first. And the Twins go 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the 8th. All Cleveland here today. Bottom of the 8th inning at Progressive Field with the Indians on top 8-2. Jack Hanahan, Kosuke Fukudome, and Ezekiel Carrera for the Indians. Scott Baker, who worked a scoreless 7th, will stay on to pitch the 8th. Roped off the end of the glove of Parmalee, and it caroms into right field for a single for Jack. Well, that's only fair.
Right. He had a couple go off his glove today. They went for base hits. So what does he do? He hits a bullet off the glove of Parmalee, and he gets a base hit. This one struck very well. So 9 hits now for the Indians, and that is the 2nd straight for Jack Hanahan.
Back out of play. Last chance for the Cardinals in St. Louis. They trail the Cubs 1-0.
With 2 outs in the 9th.
Boy, after that heartbreaking defeat they had the other night, this would be another killer.
Well, they have the bases loaded, so the chance is there. They just scored. It's 1-1. Now they have a chance to win it.
You making this up?
No. Would I do that to you about the Cardinals? I mean, seriously.
There's a liner on one
Double
hop
play.
pick, and Hughes, nice job. Hughes to Plouffe on to Parmalee. In-game box score brought to you by your Northern Ohio Hyundai dealers. Introducing the Hyundai Assurance Trade-in Value Guarantee.
It was the big sixth inning that did all the damage for the Indians when they had a couple of walks, hit batter, but some base hits mixed in there as well. Cards win it.
2-1 on a walk-off wild pitch. You gotta be kidding me.
Told you they'd come back and beat them there. It was a must win. They walked in the first run. Wild pitch on the second.
They live to fight another day in St. Louis. But time running out on them, although Washington still leads Atlanta, so they could shave a game off the Bravos' lead. That would knock it down to 2 games with, 4 to play?
That sounds about right.
They still have a chance. Fouled over into the Twins dugout.
Not the way you'd script it, but all things considered, a win is a win.
Stay alive.
I remember a day here, what was it, 2000? We had to win. We ended up winning and had to wait for somebody else to see if they were going to win or lose.
Yeah, that's not the way you want to go into the last day either. Indians go in the 8th, and we'll move to the 9th. 8-2 Tribe. (8-2) Indians. 9th inning. Frank Herman worked a 1-2-3 8th. He'll stay on to finish. Joe Benson, Rene Rivera, and Denard Span due up for Minnesota. And we're going to get a pinch hitter for Rene Rivera, who's on deck. Matt Tolbert has come on the on-deck circle. No balls, 2 strikes. Up high with it. Frank Herman struck out a pair last inning. Game 2 tonight at 7:05 on Channel 3. Mitch Talbot for the Tribe, Scott Diamond for the Twins. Got him looking. 3rd strikeout for Herman, 1 down here in the 9th. After today's game, we'll have the Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care post-game show. Conrad's home of the lowest everyday tire price guarantee. We'll look back at the highlights, talk to one of the stars of the game, and get you all set for Game 2 of our day-night doubleheader tonight. Matt Tolbert pinch hitting, takes a strike. Tolbert on the year 1 for 5 as a pinch hitter. There's a little blooper. Hanahan, finally he's got an easy play. He's had a lot of tough ones here this afternoon. And with 2 down, it brings up Denard Span. Eight-2 Indians. Hits even at 9 apiece. Twins have stranded 8. Indians have left just 4. Denard Span 1 for 4 on the day. Takes a strike. Down and in, it's ball 1. Evens the count. Hit on the ground to second. This should do it. Kipnis throws him out. A 1-2-3 ninth for Frank Herman. And the Indians win it by a final score of 8-2. So with the win, the Tribe moves over the 500 mark to 79.